Well, when you work with us, you're working with people who are very, very thorough. Geeks, really, who like to sit in front of computers and pour through thousands of newspaper articles and database records and things of that nature. And what we try to do is find what we call hits, things that could help influence an election. And very often, especially the more well-funded candidates, and some would say the smarter candidates, they do opposition research on themselves. We call that a vulnerability study, because you want to know and you want to be able to anticipate what the opposition is going to throw your way. So it's important to have an understanding not only of your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, but also your own. Well, I'm very proud of the work we did in Kansas. We had 21 state Senate races where we had conservatives running against incumbent Republicans who in many respects acted like Democrats. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but these were rhinos, if you will. And we were successful in 17 out of 21 of those races. I'm also very proud of our help that we were able to give the Scott Walker effort in Wisconsin. That's quite a feather in our cap. But, you know, sometimes these elections that are close to home, I'm based in Florida and Rob is based in Oklahoma, sometimes even the smaller races, when they're closer to you, become more meaningful. There are times where we just move so fast from one race to the next that we really don't have the luxury of paying too much attention to what ends up happening. So when we do hear good reports out of Kansas, and you couldn't possibly avoid the good news out of Wisconsin, it's very heartwarming for us to know that we're making a difference. Opposition research does get a bad rap, but it's nothing more than what a good investigative journalist would and should do. I think that in general, it's safe to say that the media is biased against Republicans and for Democrats. Very often the media will do a very thorough vetting and background check of Republicans, but too often they don't do the same on Democrats, and that's where we come in. In some respects, we're doing the media's job for them. It is, of course, up to the candidates themselves how to use the information we find, or if to use the information we find. Well-funded campaigns will very often poll findings. Well, I've been in politics since I was 16 years old, so that's 22 years, and I've got a American history teacher in high school to thank for that. He was a rabid conservative. So was I, but I didn't necessarily know how to articulate it quite as well as he did. But he really got my interest in politics primed, and I ended up volunteering on some campaigns, and the rest is history. Well, we do more than just opposition research. We do website design, graphic design, mailers. We do TV, radio, ad production. So we're really a full-service shop. The only thing we don't do that comes to mind is polling, but we have good relationships with some very good pollsters throughout the country. I don't think there is a race too small for opposition research. Even if you're running for city council, your opponent very likely has a record or has controversial votes, quotes, perhaps some financial entanglements that might yield some fruit when it comes to positioning yourself against him or her. So that's one of the nice things about us. We're pretty flexible. I mean, we've worked on races as small as city council, and we've worked all the way up to the presidential level. So no job is too small for us. We enjoy it all, and we get pretty passionate about it as well. So sometimes that's a little dangerous from a business perspective when you quote somebody, hey, it's going to take 10 hours. You end up charging them for 10 hours, but very often you put in 15 or 20 just because you just want to keep digging and keep digging. So it's a labor of love, and both Rob and I certainly welcome the opportunity to talk with anybody who is a Republican, who wants to run for office and wants to talk about what we can do for them. Well, it is possible to win a race before Election Day, and here's an example. We were working with a candidate, and we checked his opponent's filing paperwork. The opponent had filled it out incorrectly and was kicked off the ballot and was forced to run as a write-in candidate. So I suppose it's technically true that we won that election before Election Day because we're thorough.